If your first steps in the morning feels less like that, more like this, then you're in the right place. Because today we're focusing on plantar fasciitis. Specifically, we're going to discuss 5 common mistakes that I see that could definitely make your recovery much longer. Good management of the injury relies on understanding the condition and applying evidence-based strategies. So my goal here is to clarify some of those frequent missteps. So let's dive in, shall we? And examine the first mistake. Number 1, too much rest. I mean, it's really tempting. If it hurts, just don't use it ever again. Don't get me wrong. Acute, severe pain needs relative rest, but extended immobilization is not your fascia's friend. Connective tissues, including the plantar fascia, are pretty cool. They adapt and remodel according to mechanical load. This is called mechanotransduction. Think of it as use it or it gets less useful. Offloading for too long can lead to decrease of tissue tolerance and eventually weakening. Basically, the tissues decondition and it gets even more surprised when you ask it to do something. So, instead of becoming one with the sofa, a strategy of optimal loading is usually what's recommended. This involves the sweet spot level of activity, not too much, not too little. So, what's important is gradual, progressive overloading as opposed to resting it completely and hoping it will get better over time. Okay, so understanding the problem with too much rest is a good start. And the next few points I'll cover are really important too. But to be honest, you can get all the first 4 steps right and still struggle to recover if you don't get the 5th one right. So the last point is without a doubt the number 1 reason why people get stuck in that recovery re-injury cycle. So stick with me a little bit until the end so you don't miss out on that very, very last mistake. Mistake number 2, aggressive stretching. Treating your plantar fascia like it's one stubborn piece of leather and it needs to be stretched into submission. It's not the way to go. No. Gentle stretching might provide some temporary relief, but that is not what's going to make it heal. In fact, aggressively pulling onto an irritated tissue, it's a little bit like poking a sleeping bear. It might just wake up even angrier. Evidence points towards strengthening exercises. As per this 2014 paper, high load strength training provides significant improvements when compared to stretching alone. So it's more about building tissue resilience, like build and strengthen, as opposed to stretch and hope. Mistake number 3, wrong footwear. By the way, salut, so safe motions. Welcome to my channel. And if you've learned something new so far, I'd really appreciate if you gave it a like. I'm quite sure that you already have the right footwear for your runs. And that's fantastic. It's a good start. But what about the rest of your day? Think about a shoe that supports your plantar arch. Think about a shoe that supports your heel. Make sure that throughout the day, you also have good, appropriate shoes for your feet. I'm not talking necessarily about orthotic shoes or orthotics inside your shoes, but just, something that makes sense. Flip-flops might not be the best choice for everyone, or, high heels. And that's only until your foot is fully recovered. I mean, think of this as entirely part of your recovery plan. This is part of what you're supposed to do in order to get your foot back on track. Or your heel. Managing the total daily load on that foot is what matters. Mistake number 4, only treating the foot. In general, we tend to focus on where it hurts, but maybe the root cause is not exactly where it hurts. Our bodies are one system, they're all interconnected, so one fault somewhere up the kinetic chain can cause pain all the way down across on the other side. So you want to be able to focus on your whole posterior chain, for example, the calves, the hamstrings, the glutes. Have a look at your core stability. Look into your hip flexor strength, not just all the intrinsic little muscles of the foot. But do look into, for example, your asymmetries. And I do have a video about how to find out what your asymmetries are and how to fix them. Maybe follow that link up there or here, never know, here. And finally, mistake number 5, returning too soon. Because suddenly, this morning, you woke up, you felt no pain. Great, finally, you're back on track and you go out on your run. Most of the re-injuries happen right at that transition phase where you feel like you're cured, but no pain does not mean that there's no tissue injury. Before you go back to your running program, just make sure that you have some stability, some baseline peace in that tissue, in the foot. So you want to make sure that it's being perhaps a whole week without pain in the morning, and then start reintroducing impact to your foot, progressively go back to fast walking, maybe jogging. We're going back to point number 2, I think. No, that was point number 1, the one where you're focusing on strengthening. So patience, slow and steady wins the race, apparently. So to recap, avoiding those 5 common missteps can really help you speed up the recovery. Managing plantar fasciitis is a journey. It's not a quick fix. It may take a long time. Now, if you're finding that there's no improvement, don't hesitate to consult with a healthcare specialist, because your pain in the heel or in the foot might be something else. If you've made some of those common mistakes, feel free to share in the comments. It's always good to share with the community your experience. It's going to help someone else, especially if you've defeated plantar fasciitis before. Please let us know how you did it. If you've used a particular strategy, let us know in the comments. And if you're in need of specific exercises, I've got a video. I've got you covered. Just watch it over there. In the meantime, if you learned something new, as usual, please like this video, and I'll see you in the next one. À bientôt!